Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel, continuing our discussion on understanding the nodal axis of Rahu and Ketu in different houses. In this video, we will have our discussion on the placement of Rahu in the 4th house of your chart and Ketu's placement in the 10th house. So guys, as you know this thing that when it comes down to the nodal axis, it becomes very important to decode them successfully. If you want to understand someone's latent talents or potential for future growth, anything to do with the past life connection, so all these information can be successfully decoded via understanding that in which dignity nodes are operating in someone's life. Now guys, when it comes down to the Rahu's placement specifically, over here I'm still a little bit biased with Ketu's placement in the 10th house, because in lot many successful people's chart, I have seen Ketu to be operating in a very positive way. Ketu's placement in the 10th house, obviously being supported by other planets as well, that dispositor of Ketu is well placed, or Ketu's conjunct with Jupiter, being aspected by Jupiter. So all other dimensions, if supporting well, Ketu in the 10th house can actually manifest some very good results. But when it comes down to Rahu's placement in the 4th house, and if other planetary alignments are not supporting it, this could be responsible for creating a lot of problems in the life of the native. So okay guys, first let's take our attention to the Rahu side of this axis. So guys, as you know that 4th house somehow carries the energy of the water element. And Rahu in the water houses or in the water signs kind of create lot of emotional insecurity, anxiety related issues. So one thing is for sure that if you will find Rahu to be placed in the 4th house, a lot many times it has been seen that native generally get success far away from the birthplace. That could be one indication. Second thing is that definitely guys, because Rahu in itself is responsible for our insatiable appetite, our desires. So being placed in the 4th house, if working out in a constructive, in a positive way, it can give very high-end desires, whether it comes down to your desire for the kind of home you want, the kind of car you want to drive, and for any material possession. This placement of Rahu in the 4th house, if well supported, native might remain lucky in attaining all these medium of luxury or source of luxury. But now guys, when we talk about the inner emotional state, that is the one area where this placement of Rahu create maximum problem. Like the way guys, 4th house tells about your emotions. So definitely a lot many times, and Rahu is responsible for the kind of thoughts which comes to your mind. Like when we talk about what could be the alignments in the chart which can tell about someone's thought process, so we give attention to the 5th house, we give attention to the Mercury, but individually Rahu is a very key player to giving this idea the kind of thought is governing in the mind of a person. And a lot many times it has been seen that native tend to remain, like if Rahu's energy in the 4th house is working out in a negative way, so native tend to kind of hold on to the negative events, like always in a vicious cycle of negative events, past negative events, and always coming across as a victim, always presenting himself as a victim of circumstances, victim of not being well supported by the family members or some traumatic bad childhood experiences, and native is just pinning all of his failures to the earlier failures or a bad foundation being given by the parenting. So this could be one of the negative side of the functioning of Rahu in the 4th house. But again guys, if well supported, I have already mentioned this thing, it can actually make the person very secretive, very diplomatic. And in today's day and age, when we talk about making use of manipulation, now definitely if you are working in all those fields, like whether you are working in the fields of law, in the fields of politics, where too much of the arbitration, diplomacy is required, then in those kind of situation or profile, or if you have to work in any secretive nature of work, so this placement of Rahu in the 4th house can actually work as a blessing in disguise for the native. Apart from that guys, there is one more thing which has been mentioned in lot many books, that when Rahu is placed in the 4th house, now try to understand this thing, that when we talk about anything to do with the alignment, you can never overlook the importance of the people which are connected with the planets. If you actually want to do the best remedies, now we have actually reached a point where, see, this has to be a part of our inculcated virtues, that we have to remain very respectful towards our parents. But now the time has come that even you have to advise people that, okay, if you do not get along well with your mother, just as a form of remedy for your moon, stay respectful towards your mom. Same goes with, if you want to get the best out of the sun, stay very respectful and behave very obedient towards your father. So same way, guys, when it comes down to the kind of family members which Rahu represent. So Rahu represents your in-laws, and this is a kind of axis where mother plays a very important role. Now this could be your own mother, or this could be your mother-in-law, because if 4th house represents your mother, so from the 7th house is the house of your partner, and if you will go 4 places ahead of it, you will reach the 10th house, so that means your mother-in-law. So with this kind of alignment, it becomes very important that if this axis is working out in a constructive way, then it's fine. But if it is not working out in a constructive way, so all the elements and entities represented by Rahu, so do not receive those items as gifts from your in-laws. Second thing is that, guys, if you know basic of the Vastu as well, so in our house, toilets are being represented by Rahu. So we say that if your Rahu is placed in the 4th house, so your toilet has to be very clean, very immaculate, and even if you want to do any renovation over there, so following the proper Vastu instructions will be very much advisable. Same way for all those people who have their own independent house. So your terrace, like on your roof, it has to be very clean. A lot many people have this habit of keeping all the junk items in their like all the scrap items on their roof. So you have to be very cautious and careful that your toilets and your roof has to be clean and very immaculate. Apart from that, guys, like with this kind of placement, generally it has been seen that this placement of Rahu in the 4th house give very extreme results, like when we talk about education. So either it will create a lot of problems in the basic education of the native, or this can make someone very smart, very highly intellectual. Same ways, it could either give very difficult relationship with your mother, or your mother could be very well protective towards you. So with this placement of Rahu, apart from the emotional, mental vulnerability, all other areas are tend to remain little bit and they go through lot of extremities. But guys, a lot many times it has been also seen that when we are decoding Rahu, we cannot even overlook this fact that in the original Kalpurush Kundli, 4th house belongs to the moon. So because of which it has been seen that with this placement of Rahu in the 4th house, wheresoever moon is placed, somehow native's income is somehow connected with that house. So native receives majority of the money where moon is placed in the chart, and he spends the money in the areas of the house where Mercury is placed. And apart from that, guys, let's say for example, if with this kind of alignment, if Venus is well placed in the chart, like for example, if Venus is placed in the 2nd house, in the 7th house, in the 12th house, even in the 11th house, so because of the marriage, native stars tend to support his in-laws. And generally it has been seen that because in-laws make some very good fortune in the matters of money, and in return they support their son-in-law, their daughter-in-law as well. So this has been seen as a part of research in lot many cases. So yes, guys, when it comes down to making a career in the fields of politics, in the fields of like secretive services, this could be a very good placement. And also, guys, whenever it comes down to high-end luxury, like when we talk about people who own big businesses, big construction companies, they have their own yachts and big businesses, so that is a combined energy, a dual effect of Rahu and Venus working out constructively. So again, and there is no kind of a rule which defines that rich people and wealthy people are always contented and happy. So this is a kind of placement which can definitely make you wealthy, but when it comes down to inner emotional state, a peaceful domestic life, that always remain on the radar. There will always be a question mark over there. After that, guys, let's now shift to the house where Ketu is placed. So guys, Ketu's 10th house placement, I am always biased because I see Ketu as representing a flag, a hoisted flag. Flag is always being connected with people who have some sort of expertise or monopoly, or they rule or govern something. So because of which, if Ketu is placed in the 10th house and like well supported by Sun, or let's say for example well supported by Jupiter over here, it can actually give you good success or kind of expertise, or you might be able to carve a niche in the field where you will be operating. But guys, again, with this kind of placement, there are a couple of precautions which a person has to follow, because 10th house always has some sort of energy, flavors or say of the Saturnian energy. So one planet of justice, karma, and another planet which is very unrelenting force, which is Ketu, which is placed in your 10th house. So because of which your conduct, your character has to be very immaculate. With this kind of placement, I have already mentioned that story as well, that Ketu is seen as a calf and Venus is considered as a cow. With that, it reminded me of a very beautiful artwork which I bought recently. So it's just like that. When you see a Gau Mata, how can you resist yourself? So yeah, just I was talking about Ketu, so it reminded me of that. So yeah, guys, so because of which you have to, your character has to be very well guarded, specifically in the case of too much of the attraction and splurging money on extramarital affairs could be responsible for the fall of the person. Apart from that, guys, with this kind of alignment, because somehow Saturn has got a strong say over here, so specifically with your paternal uncles, you have to keep your relations very well guarded, very well protected. Like I'm going to say, stay as respectful as you could be. And also, guys, because this is also the house where Mars also attains exaltation, so because of which like try to be the bigger person in any kind of situation, because out of all the 9 planets, Ketu is considered as the eldest. So even if you come across those kind of life situation where your brothers are mean to you, so as forgiving as you could be towards them, the better it will give more energy, thrust and power to Ketu being well placed in your 10th house. And also, guys, all the basic things that specifically the age of maturity of Ketu is 48. So after 48, if this nodal axis is operating in a positive constructive way in your case, so having a dog at your home as a pet also tend to give more energy and power to Ketu, which remain very conducive for your professional success. Because guys, with this kind of nodal axis, generally it has been seen that if other factors are also supporting it, so generally success comes in the second half of the life. And because we are talking about Rahu's inner emotional turmoil, which could be responsible for the early childhood experiences, so overall, in a nutshell, the best of this nodal axis generally give its results in the second half of life only. And apart from that, guys, I already mentioned this thing that in the professional sphere, there could be some steep and very transformative events which native might have to go through. But these transformative events, if Ketu's placement, its dispositor is well supported, will only add and they will only contribute towards your success, towards the expertise which you will gain in a chosen field. And guys, with this kind of placement of Ketu in the 10th house, it has been generally seen that native can be very good in the fields of like all those fields which are being represented by Ketu, where we talk about antique items or archaeology, spirituality, philosophy, photography, film business. So native can actually attain very good success in all these fields. So yes, guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs on this nodal axis of Rahu and Ketu in the 4th house and the 10th house. For furthermore updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.